What's up, guys? It's your boy Coden Pablo back with another episode of NBA recaps and predictions and debates with my guy Lowe.
What's up, man?
Chilling like a villain, bro. New year, new me. New phone, man. Who dis? So, how you feeling with the new year, bro?
Everything's cool, man. Got some goals I'm trying to accomplish. Trying to be healthy, trying to get fit. I'm already fit, but trying to level up. You gotta evolve out here.
Yeah, man. We got a lot of work to do this year. This year I'm just focused on what needs to be done. I'm not even hanging out with people like that. I'm trying to work on my body, my mind, and the rest will come, bro.
And man, love yourself, man. It'll all come.
Right. You already know. All right, cool. So let's get it started, man. So what I first want to talk about is our teams real quick, because we had back-to-back games with the Pistons and the Celtics. So okay. Why don't you tell me what happened today? Why don't you tell the audience what happened today?
All right. Well, before you talk about today, you always gotta talk about the first game first. So, the Celtics done surprised me. The Celtics surprised me. I ain't never heard somebody lose, and they're the team who gets the surprise. How does Celtics lose to the Pistons?
Listen, we have days where we slip up. You know what I'm saying? We have a tough schedule, and we're not playing with Kemba. We're developing our bench. Not to make excuses, but it is what it is. Feel me?
Sound like excuse me.
I ain't trying to make no excuses, but it is what it is. But we finished with a dub today, right? That's all that matters.
Is that something
for the new year?
Is it something you can really brag about?
Yeah, it's a new year. What you mean?
Oh, okay, if it's a new year, then the Pistons came into the new year undefeated.
Okay.
Y'all didn't. Y'all came in with a loss. In the first game of the new year, y'all lost to the Pistons.
But then we just came back and leveled up on y'all with a dub.
So everybody knows the Pistons are in rebuild mode. They are most likely going to be the worst team in the league this year. If you cannot brag because Jason Tatum hit a game-winning buzzer-beater shot on the Pistons.
He's that guy. What can I say?
Yeah, great shot. But
matter of fact, hold up.
You shouldn't be in that position, is what I'm saying.
The reason why I'm going to explain a little bit is because looking at the stats, first of all, Jaylen Brown had 31 points and Jason Tatum had 24. Okay, we having arguments in the Celtics Facebook chats on who the best player is on the Celtics right now. And honestly, I think it's Jason Tatum, but yeah, he's that guy because he hits those game winners, and the organization believes in him. Jaylen Brown is a great all-around two-way player, but I just believe he's playing more effective right now, I would say, even though Jason Tatum's hitting those shots. And yes, the reason why we're not doing that great is because our bench is not developed, and we're not, even though those players scored a lot, they had plus minuses, really low, like under 5. And that kind of tells you that they're not being as effective as they could be right now. Even though Jason Tatum shot 45% from the field and he had 0 turnovers, Jaylen Brown had 6 turnovers. So whether or not, So whether or not, they score 20, 30, 40, they're not playing as effective as they should be. And I mean, Marcus Smart has 17 points. That's good, but we don't need him to have 17 points. We need him to be a better all-around player and play defense.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And I do agree. Jason Tatum is the number one guy in Boston, and Jaylen Brown is doing real good. He's got, averaging 28 points a game, something like that?
Yeah.
Doing real good. And, when it comes down to his shots are just going in. That don't mean that he's better than Jason Tatum. I would take Jason Tatum over Jaylen Brown, but I wouldn't be surprised if they both all-stars this year. They're doing real good. Like I said, I have the expectancy that they should have beat the Pistons, not lose to the Pistons first game. And
it's the beginning of the season, my guy.
Yeah,
what else do you want from us without our guys, Kemba and the bench? I just feel like you're not giving us some slack.
What you telling me is the Boston Celtics have their number 1 and number 2 is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yep.
All-star caliber players.
Yep.
The Pistons have our number 1 and number 2 is Blake Griffin, who's I don't even think is averaging 20 points a game. and he's been on concussion protocol. He ain't been playing a few games, and then Derrick Rose.
But he could be fresh certain games. You gotta understand, like when you're
they
playing more
haven't
games, like
touched-
these guys are playing every single game. Whereas Blake, he might be fresh one game, so he's gonna have one or two good games, and that could just be on us one of the times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You gotta,
you're right, but he
you
didn't
gotta
play
really
the first
evaluate
game.
that too.
The game that the Pistons won, Blake Griffin didn't even play.
Well, somebody stepped up. That's what happens.
Yeah, they did. Somebody did step up, but at the end of the day,
Sadiq, whatever his name is, stepped up on
so
us.
let me ask you this. First, I'm gonna ask. I believe I know your answer, but who do you think is the best player in the world?
LeBron James.
Okay, so if LeBron is the best player in the world, if the Charlotte Hornets come in or the New York Knicks come in and they lose, then you're gonna be looking at LeBron like, oh, the Lakers LeBron, AD, they should be destroying these teams.
Nah, I kind of see it now too, because when you really look at it, Julius Randle for the Knicks, like, he actually looks decent, and they might be rested for one or two of those games. And LeBron's older, so you really gotta, to me, you gotta see what the context are. But you know what? I'm not gonna make no excuses. You're right in a general terms. Yeah, they should beat them, right? But it depends on the schedule. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
and the rest, and who's playing, who's not playing. I mean, the first week too. I got so mad because, for example, Russell Westbrook didn't play after they went on a 4 or 5 game losing streak. And then he just played, and they beat the Nets and stuff, and that's great and all today. But he wasn't playing that much. So I believe it's just based on what's going on, what's happening, So that's how I see it.
So last thing on this.
All right.
So if it's about the schedule,
okay,
they lost to the Pistons by 3 points the first night. Then they had a day off. So that's their rest day.
Yeah.
And they came back the next day, and they only beat the Pistons by 2 points. I'm not saying that the Pistons are, I'm glad that they're competing, but at the end of the day, the Celtics shouldn't, when it comes down to the Pistons or teams that aren't good, and, I'm not saying they're not competing, but, they could be a lot better. Our team is full of young players and old players. We should be. I love to see us competing, but I'm not expecting us to compete and actually have the Boston Celtics or the Lakers or the Clippers, the top tier teams. If we getting blown out and it comes down to the fourth quarter, we down by 10, 15.
Listen, at the end of the day, man, this is just regular season games. You know what we about,
right.
Playoffs. Right. So when it comes down and we play 50 games, 60 games, all that stuff's not going to matter, bro. It's the beginning of the season. Let's not get too hyped. Congratulations. You guys beat us once. I think we meet up 4 times or 3.
We got our first win against the sorry-ass Boston Celtics.
You mean the vulnerable Boston Celtics, okay?
Yeah, I'm just playing.
Yeah, you better be playing because you already know what's going to happen later in the season.
Let's get right into find out. Hopefully y'all make playoffs.
Yeah, let's get right into the next topic. So it's kind of interesting that you bring up records too. We're actually an 8th seed. And this is, I'm bringing up the Celtics again to kind of bring up a bigger point. We're 3-3, and the Knicks are 3-3. Unless they're playing tonight, I'm not sure, but pretty much as of what I saw this morning, they're 3-3. The reason why, and this is kind of important to keep track of too. This is something new I'm learning. They're in front of us. They're in the 7th seed, and we're in the 8th.
Who are we talking about?
The Knicks.
Oh, okay.
The Celtics. So the Celtics in the Eastern Conference are 8th seed. The Knicks are 7th seed.
Yeah.
They're both 3-3. But in our conference, we're 2-3. And they're 3-3. I think we played someone from the West Coast or just outside of the conference. So yeah, so at the end of the day, though, even analyzing that, we got a lot of work to do. We're 8th seed right now. We got Cleveland. Cavs are 4-2. Hawks are 4-2. We got a problem.
Yeah. So for Cleveland, I think it's going to be tough for y'all because I don't think Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice are. They're better. They're decent centers, but they're not game changers for y'all. They're not putting up numbers. Like when y'all play Cleveland, somebody has to stop Andre Drummond from getting boards, and I don't think Daniel Tice and Tristan Thompson can do that. That's how you're gonna beat the Pistons, beat the Cavaliers.
Yeah, and Colin Sexton, man, he's people cannot sleep on him. He has so much energy.
Definitely.
I feel like he like Andre Drummond is there to kind of hold down the anchor, so he's able to get those rebounds, give them second chance points, and kind of keep them in the game. And then Colin Sexton is just has so much energy going down to the basket at the end of the game. He's going to get fouled. He's going to get and one. I've seen that, you know, throughout all these games, and it's really scary, you know, and especially with Andre Drummond. Sometimes I get scared when he gets back in the game. I'm like, man, I forgot they had him. Like they start playing all their other, you know, players. I'm not saying they're bad, but, you know, they got Seti and they got Garland. They start, you know, doing their thing. You know, they're doing okay. And then Andre Drummond is all rested, coming off the bench, like, yo, like big as hell. I'm like, damn, like I forgot he's on their team. Like they actually look good. Like,
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Colin Sexton and Darius Garland are both averaging over 20 points a game. So
yeah,
those two are gonna be tough.
They're gonna be really tough, man. So my question to you, and to bring this up too, the Sixers are ahead in the standings, which I hate the Sixers, but they're a really solid squad. They just got those veteran guys. People were talking shit about Danny Green, but I mean, Danny Green is an effective player when it comes down to the postseason, and he still is a good player in general. Like he's like LeBron. You got to rest a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also you gotta. If you got Danny Green in the corner, there's nobody in the NBA who's going to just leave him open. I don't care how many shots he missed. The one time when you say, oh, he missed the last 50, if you sag off, he's going to make that shot.
Mm-hmm.
He's a three-point specialist. So even if he's not hitting, the defense still has to make sure. They got to do their job. They can't just let him slack off like Ben Simmons ain't hit a three in forever.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ben Simmons, though. He did hit a three.
He hit 1 3.
And it was clean. It was clean, too.
Yeah, it was. But that's the only 3 he hitting for like the next 3 months. So that's all I'm saying.
Hey, but if he can do it in the playoffs, that 1-3 might take the Boston Celtics.
Come on, bro. He ain't hitting no game winner. That
might make the Boston Celtics drop.
Unless he's wide open. Like they run a play and he does some Steph Curry shit, comes off with like 3 screens and just no. He does that LeBron thing. You know, when LeBron's open, he kind of looks around, he dribbles the ball really hard, and then he shoots it.
Yeah.
Like that's the only way I see him doing something like that. He has all the time in the world. He looks around like, y'all motherfuckers, dribbles it real quick. You know what? Boom.
Yeah, definitely.
So my question to you, I'm actually going to change the question on the fly.
Okay.
I was going to ask who will make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, but my question to you now is, are the Hawks going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals based on what you've seen? I know it's really early, but, you know, it's a good question.
So if they can stay healthy, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. I could see them in the second round.
Okay.
But also, how they're playing, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they're not expected to, but because, you know, it comes down to Brooklyn and it comes down to Milwaukee and Boston.
Yeah.
I would say my top 4 teams in the East is going to be Milwaukee, Boston, Brooklyn, and then Atlanta. I think Atlanta's better than Toronto. I think Atlanta's better than Miami. Like I said, it all depends on who's healthy. But I think Atlanta could be a top 4 seed and get at least to the second round. And I wouldn't be shocked if they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I could see them, though, losing early to, like, the Heat or the Pacers. You know, those teams are just really efficient. I actually seen yesterday or the day before something about the Indiana Pacers. It was a stat line that they had, like, the best shooting field goal percentage. Mm-hmm. They were shooting, like, the best from the field.
Yeah,
I think they actually lost that game to the Knicks, too. But they are, like, they're the true definition of, like, team. Like, when you think of, like, actual teamwork, right? You think of like the Warriors in the past, the Spurs, Pacers, and now the Heat too. They play like a team.
Yeah, so, they're not. They have stars, but they're not like superstars.
But my thing is, watching those Hawk games, I need them to close though. I think they're not that great at closing. Not because of like just the defense. I just feel like their offense runs and flows really well like during the game, but I've noticed that they lose leads and then they kind of scramble near the end. And I just don't know if Trae Young is that guy to be like. He is a great scorer. You know, I was gonna have a debate with you, Jamal Murray versus Trae Young. But honestly, it's hard to debate them. The only reason why, though, I would still say I like Jamal Murray is because of the playoffs. But obviously, Trae Young hasn't made it to the playoffs yet. So I want to give him more time because he was like averaging almost 30 points last year. I don't know how many points it was.
Right now he's tied with number 3 for points per game.
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna put any debate out there yet because I know how Jamal Murray is.
Yeah,
he's a closer. He's a finisher, and you've seen him drop 40-point games in the playoffs. So we're gonna have a later debate about that. Trust me, and I'm gonna have some crazy stats on that. But going back to what I was saying, I just don't know how they're gonna close. Especially like think about some of the matchups, right? If they play the Heat in the playoffs, Jimmy Butler's going off. I mean, who's going to be their guy? Bogdan is hitting those shots. Yeah. They might shut down Trae Young. With what's Bam in the paint. Locking down. It's a lot of stuff. They have a lot of offense. They have a lot of shooters, but they don't have the defense to stop. So you think it is the defense? You think that's the biggest factor?
Yeah, Trae Young's not a defensive player. They don't. Kevin Huerter's not a defensive player. Their best defensive player besides what's his name, their center, is John Collins or what's his name, Cam Reddish or their other center guy. Yeah,
he's a forward. I think Hunter, he is going off.
Yeah, he's doing good too.
He's been doing pretty good, and I think they're all playing really solid. But my thing is, it's like they kind of remind me of OKC in a way. They're not like Russell Westbrook players, but they're really solid. Everyone's doing their role. I think they want to win. But my thing is, I'm not worried about their defense. I'm worried about, even though I am worried about their defense. Actually, I'm worried more about last play of the game. You give the ball to Trae Young. He's a guard at the end of the day. He's going to get blocked or something. Someone's going to have to bail him out. Like how Steph Curry got bailed out a lot by Andre Iguodala. You need someone like that to bail him out. And I just don't know who's going to be that guy to be like, oh man, Trae Young's getting trapped in the corner.
Somebody going to
score.
You know what I hope? And I think it would be great for the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
If the Hawks need another guy, if this team keeps going the way they're going, because right now they have a losing record.
Yeah.
I hope for the city of Atlanta, they need to make a trade for Bradley Beal.
That'd be amazing.
Put Bradley Beal next to Trae Young. That team's getting to the playoffs. No doubt in my mind.
They're definitely getting. They could get to the Eastern Conference. I'll say that right now.
The defense is still going to be rough. But their offense, they're going to have that number 1 and number 2 guy, and it's going to be nasty.
You know what? I might even put a poll out there on Twitter now. If you add Bradley Beal to the Hawks, depending on who they trade, do you make it to the Eastern Conference?
Honestly, I'm giving up. If I'm the Hawks, I'm giving up Cam Reddish. I'm giving up. I honestly probably give up John Collins. Only because
you giving up all those guys?
So John Collins is on his last year of his contract.
Okay.
They didn't give him the extension, so I don't know if he's going to come back or not.
Yeah.
So John Collins, Cam Reddish, Bradley Beal is 30 points per game guy. He's an all-star. If you're trying to trade for Bradley Beal, you got to give up a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. I might have to throw in a draft pick too, because I'm pretty sure he has a few more years on his contract too.
Yeah.
So if the Hawks could do that, they're making the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, we'll see. It's tough right now. I mean, I'm glad to see the diversity. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of diversity going on. So I want to see some new teams, make it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I want my team out of the playoffs, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Cavs in the playoffs if they're good.
The Cavs?
I wouldn't mind seeing them in the playoffs as an 8th seed.
Yeah, I think they could be an 8th seed.
At least like an 8th seed or competing for 8th seed, 9th seed spot. And, they just – or I think they're going to do the play-in thing too. I don't even know. So we got to see how that goes. But now I kind of want to shift gears to the Western Conference real quick.
Okay.
Based on, what you've seen, from some of those teams, like who do you think is a good candidate that maybe people aren't thinking about, that maybe someone who's competing and could knock off, those top two teams? Not the Lakers. We don't think anyone can knock off the Lakers still. But like maybe instead of like everyone thinking the Nuggets is going to go back automatically, like, some other team is really competing for that spot. Who do you got?
You talking about like one of the final spots?
Western Conference. Just talking about
like the final bottom seeds?
Yeah.
I would say.
Well, are you talking about just making it to the playoffs? I'm kind of talking about the Western Conference, but we can start with the playoffs. No, we can start with the playoffs. Let's do the playoffs.
So I think the normal teams that's always there is going to be there.
Not Rockets, though. I don't know about them.
They could. John Wall's doing almost 20 and 8 a game.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I love John Wall. I think actually, and shout out to myself in this case, because I actually said that the Rockets won that trade, and I still believe they did.
They did so far.
But I'm assuming that James Harden might not be there, or he might just not play 100%.
So I would say if James Harden's there, they're going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
If he's not there, I wouldn't be surprised if they're out. I wouldn't be surprised, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they're battling for the 8th seed. Because if James Harden's out,
definitely make the 8th seed.
Yeah, they're John Wall has more shots for him.
Right.
Marcus Cousins, I'm not exactly sure how he's doing, but he's still playing.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian Wood's going to be most improved player.
Yeah, I wanted to argue that at this point too, because I actually have some of his stats. Last year he averaged 13 points, 6 rebounds,
coming off the bench and
1 assist. And obviously it's a short sample space, but he's 23 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, and shooting 55% from the field. And he's not just in the paint. So
it literally blows my mind because he played for the Pistons. We traded Andre Drummond.
Right.
In my argument, he's the best, one of the best top 5 centers in the league when it comes to He's definitely the best when it comes to rebounds.
Right.
But we gave him up, and then everybody was saying, "Okay, Christian Wood, this is gonna be your time to shine. We're gonna sign you to a long-term contract."
Right.
I knew he was gonna be good. It was like the last 20 games of the season, he was averaging 20 and 10. So I'm not surprised at what he's doing because I seen it.
Right.
Watching the Pistons. It just blows my mind that the Pistons didn't jump on that. How do you lose him?
And this is crazy too because later in the show I was going to bring up like a table that I brought up with these advanced stats, but let me give you something to kind of add on to Christian Wood. I didn't even see this earlier. He's top 10 all players right now in this current season on block percentage. So basically the rate at which, you block those it's specifically 2-point field goals that he's blocking. He's top 10 percentage wise blocking per 100 possessions or whatever it is.
That's good.
At like 5, what is it? Let me see. At like 5.1. So he's top 10 right now in block percentage.
That's good. So he's getting you 20 points a game, 10 rebounds, and he's still playing defense for you. And
like 2 assists. That's just an add-on. I mean, shooting really efficiently, 55% from the field.
He could shoot the
crazy.
3. He could. So I was watching the Houston Rockets game. I forget who they were playing, but they were giving comparisons, not to the skill set.
Mm-hmm.
They were giving comparisons that if he puts in the work, he can be. I kind of disagree, but they said he's like an Anthony Davis. I'm not the words that I said, but I'm saying his athleticism, he can shoot.
Like a baby Anthony Davis, sure. Like
I ain't say, but he's still. If you're averaging 20 and 10, and you can shoot the 3, or you can take it to the hole, or post up, he can be. In my opinion, I definitely think he'll be most improved. But give him another season if he develops. I wouldn't be surprised if he's all-star.
Speaking of Anthony Davis, I actually don't see him on this list, so I might have to look into that on, the defensive stats on how he's doing. I'm sure he's doing still pretty good, but maybe he's not playing as much defense as we think right now. I have to look into that.
Know.
That's the fun part about these stats, man. I love looking at these stats, they don't tell the whole game, but they give you a lot of context. Yeah. So wait. So let's go right back into it. Like, who do you think making it to the Western Conference with the
Western
Lakers?
Conference. It's tough because the Clippers can't lose to by 50, and then still expect me to think that they've got a great team. But also,
all right, you know what? Like, all right, keep going.
So the game where they lost by 51 to the Mavericks, that tells me it was shameful, and that tells me that Kawhi Leonard is doing everything by himself.
Right.
Because they didn't have Kawhi Leonard, who's a top 5 player in the league, but they had Serge Ibaka, they had Paul George, they had Lou Williams, they had Pat Beverly. That just shows me that Kawhi is doing everything. He is carrying that team.
Is Pat Beverly really that good as a solid player at this point?
He's just a defensive player. That's it.
Isn't he even that good on
gets in people's minds.
Is he just annoying? I just feel like maybe he's just more annoying.
I think he's just the high energy guy that's just in your face all the time trying to get in people's heads. But he's not like, oh, let me pass it to Pat Bev to get this game winning shot. No,
right,
definitely not.
I'm not saying game winning shot. I'm just saying in general. I don't even think he's doing that good as a role player. Is what I'm saying. But
when you still have Lou Williams, you still have Serge Ibaka and Paul George, I'm not saying they should win every game. And I'm not taking any credit away from Dallas. Luka is still on fire, but they shouldn't be getting blown out by 50.
They should be competing though. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's
how I see
still
it.
Paul George and Lou Williams, Serge Ibaka. That still should be a 7th, 8th seed team.
Right.
So if you take Kawhi out, can Kawhi keep holding that team up all the way into the playoffs? He couldn't do it last year.
His muscles,
his back is hurting.
LeBron James, you know what I'm saying? Put some respect.
I want to say Denver, but they lost to Sacramento twice.
Okay, Sacramento's actually playing pretty good.
Yeah, they are playing good.
Buddy Hield emerging,
they definitely are doing
De'Aaron Fox. I mean, they got that one tall ass dude off the bench that can shoot threes. They got a decent team. Yeah,
they do. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they lost Jeremy Grant, who was a good role player. They need somebody.
You're talking about the Nuggets. I was talking about the Sacramento Kings being a good team.
The Kings are good, but I don't think they'll get to the second round.
We'll get to the playoffs for sure.
They could get to the 7th, 8th seed, but I don't think they'll make it to the second round, depending on who they're matching up with.
Okay, I can agree with that. It's tough for me because I like the Nuggets and I believe in them, but they gotta be able to sustain themselves. I just feel like sometimes they have trouble doing that, and maybe at the end they have the best record. Who knows, right?
They could.
They really are explosive like that. But I like the Suns right now being a disruptor, kind of. Maybe stopping one of those top teams from getting to that spot. That'd be a good matchup in the playoffs if the Rockets made it to the playoffs with the Suns. That'd be a great playoff series right there.
I'm expecting the Suns to make it too.
But I actually like I said before, the Timberwolves. I think they're a pretty good team. We just need to see Karl Anthony Towns, get healthy. And I think, rest in peace to his mother, but I think he has a lot of fuel coming into the season that we might see something unexpected. And he's playing with D'Angelo Russell.
But he's hurt right now.
Tough.
But Cat is hurt right now.
But hey, when he comes back, if he comes back in a month or whatever the timetable is, we'll see.
Yeah, but also, if he comes back in a month, can the Timberwolves win without him? Are they going to be deep in the hole?
They can win games. I believe so.
But do you think, depending on how the schedule is, if you lose Karl Anthony Towns, who's your number one guy, let them go against a team that let them go against the Lakers. They need somebody to be big.
Play them on an off day, you know what I'm saying?
They could, but I'm not taking my chances.
They got Rubio, they got D'Angelo Russell coming off in the backcourt, and they got some of their younger guys, stepping up on that role. So they're not going to be really great from the bigs perspective, but they can still shoot. They still got a lot of high energy. I like Malik Beasley a lot. That guy got a lot of energy. I forgot if he comes off the bench or not, but he's pretty good. So we'll see. But yeah, it's probably just Lakers right now. Clippers is a wild card. Nuggets just gotta stay healthy and just stay focused, because sometimes they're not. And yeah, I think, you know, the Suns could be a disruptor, you know.
Yeah, I think they can too.
Yeah, man. So this was good. This was a pretty good episode. So before I let you go, I'm gonna go over some crazy stats that I saw, and I think this is pretty good to put into perspective. So I looked up a stat called turnover percentage. Pretty much like the rate is at which, you know, someone's turning the ball over per 100 plays. So with different stats, you know, it could be per, you know, 45 minutes, per 100 possessions, per 36 minutes. There's different ways to kind of look at like different stats and calculate it. So it's a little confusing, but it just depends on what you're trying to look at. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
The 100 plays is just kind of like a general thing. It's nothing too crazy. But some of the names that I saw on here, your rookie is actually one of the second to lowest person with turnover percentage. So I'm not saying he's playing really bad, but he's up there with 25% of the time turning the ball over.
Yeah, he's a rookie, so he has to learn, and he's a rookie that's going straight into a starting position.
Right.
So I'm not saying he's not ready for it, but he has to get thrown into that fire.
And you know who else too? I'm not off the hot seat either. I didn't even see my rookie is number 4.
Yeah,
Peyton Pritchard.
So that surprises me a little bit, because you have your number 1 and number 2 option already.
Yeah.
So how much is your rookie having the ball?
Yeah. And we didn't even talk about, you know, some of those the rookies too, but we'll touch on them really shortly. Real quick too, Nikola Jokic is number 1 right now in assists with 12 assists, but he's number 1 with turnovers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
7 turnovers. And on this list that I have, right, he's actually number 7 on the turnover percentage on the list right here. So
you say he has 7 turnovers a game?
Yeah.
So he's almost, it's not something to brag about, but he's almost averaging a quadruple double.
Pretty much.
He's averaging 23, 11, and 13.
Yep.
And 7 turnovers. I don't know if that's good anymore.
Yep. And his turnover rate right here is in the 20% range. So he's in that top 10 of turnover percentage. And just to give out some other names too, Devin Booker's number 5. That's why he needs to be better with that. I know he has the ball a lot in his hands, but and also Ben Simmons. I think it's because he doesn't shoot. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, if he always goes to the paint, somebody always going to have a hand on your ball.
Yeah, I'm dying at the number 1 is PJ Tucker. I see PJ Tucker a lot too. Not to keep going on your rookie, but I'm not going to lie. Like, I wasn't like, yo, let me just look up your rookie and just
it seems like you're trying to look for dirt.
But another stat that's important is called win share, and this one specifically win shares per 48 minutes, I think, or 48 possessions.
Is that like how is he helping the team win or something?
Yeah, so win share is like basically when you're on the floor, you're helping your team win. How much did you contribute to the win?
Yeah.
And I looked up the lowest players that contribute to winning, and he's number 2 with Kelly Oubre at number 1.
Look, he's gonna develop, man. Just give him a few years. Like I said, right now he's looking like a bust, but we're only like 10 games in. So when we this year see where he's at, next year, I don't know if we're gonna bring Derrick Rose back, but next year I'm expecting to see. If he's still not good after that year, then he's on my list as a bust.
And some of these other names surprise me. D'Angelo Russell, number 3. Number 5, Kobe White. Number 6, Marvin Bagley from the Suns. Number 7, Andrew Wiggins.
Now Marvin Bagley's on he's on Memphis.
Oh no.
Or no, Phoenix. Damn it. Sacramento.
Yeah, that's what I meant. My bad.
Yeah.
Wait, I said Kings. Yeah.
No, you said Phoenix. You said the Suns.
I meant Devin Booker. Well, he's not. Oh, he's number 13 on this list.
Okay.
Yeah, and then one last stat line too. This one's pretty general, but this is block percentages I brought up. This guy, guess who's number 5 right now?
In block percentage?
Yeah, top 5.
Andre Drummond.
Rookie. It's a
rookie.
Yep.
James Wiseman.
Beautiful, man. with Andre Drummond at number 4.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I think Miles Turner's number 1.
Yep.
Yeah, Miles Turner's a good defensive player.
And we talked about Christian Wood being at number 10. So that's he's a rookie. He's up there. So we got to give him his props. You know, next time we do our episode, I definitely want to break down the rookies.
Yeah, definitely. Battle the rookies.
And I seen a stat too with LaMelo Ball having 4 assists a game, or it was steals or something like that.
Yeah, he's top 4, top 5 in steals.
Yeah, that's crazy. Good. That's really good.
Yeah, and that's crazy because everybody was throwing shade at his defense.
Yeah.
So on ball, 1-on-1, he might not be a good defensive player.
Yeah.
But 4 steals a game, or number 4 in steals, number 5 in steals.
You know why? He's smart. To me, like he's really sneaky and conniving. I've seen 2 or 3 plays in a row, like watching some of his games where he would and I do this sometimes too. I'm bad at jumping and trying to grab a rebound when I play basketball. So what I do is when someone comes down with the ball, I look at them where the ball's at and I try to poke it out their hands or swipe it off of them. And that's what he's been doing. And it's crazy because he has so much athleticism, but you see him, I saw him, he just was the way underneath the basket and he took the ball from Dwight Howard or other players 3 or 4 times. He's just a little, he's give me that. And it's I've seen him do it 4 or 5 times already. He's really sneaky. People don't notice that. So yeah, man, it's crazy. I'm really excited about this season. I'm really excited about this new year. Thank you for being on another episode of Ballin' with Code and Pablo, man. If you guys, want to, make sure you check out my, my page and check out my new page, AC Pablo. I just dropped a new single on Apple Music, Spotify. So you guys will hear that single on this episode, on the beginning of the episode and the end of it. But make sure you guys check out that page as well. And, follow me on Twitter and, follow my boy over here too, IG.
I mean, I really appreciate it, man. Just keep grinding, man. You're doing a lot of work. But this got to be your year. You got to make it your year, though.
Yeah, you're right, man. You're right.
just don't stop. You ain't never heard somebody say, when they get their success, that it was an easy road.
Right.
So just keep grinding, and you'll get it, man.
I appreciate you, bro.
It's not gonna be tomorrow. It's not gonna be next week. Shit, it might not even be this year. But you gotta keep it going, because when you start to get it, you're gonna appreciate it.
2025. No, I'm just
whatever it takes.
100%, man. I love the life lesson. That's how I'm thinking. I'm just being patient right now, taking one day at a time, and hopefully, building building blocks, right, to the house. Yeah. You start with one brick at a time, right? So exactly. That's how I'm taking it, baby. You already know.
Yeah, man. It's different animals, same beast, man. Just put the work in.
You already know, bro. All love, man. I appreciate you. Tune in to the next episode next week on Sunday, and I'll probably have a few live streams this week, so I'll see you guys soon.